I'm Sam Otten, and I'm joined by my friend Jason Book. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Justice League 41 and the overall start to the Darkseid War, written by Geoff Johns with art mostly by Jason Fabok. So we had a couple prologues to issue 41. If we go back to Justice League 40, that was a Darkseid War prologue where Metron was there to take us through kind of a brief history of a lot of the crises in the DC universe. And we see that the Anti-Monitor is kind of this tragic character who's sort of trapped in this cycle of the universe and the multiverse kind of dying and being reborn and all this, and Anti-Monitor seems like he really wants to break out of that cycle. So he has a deal with Darkseid's daughter. We get kind of that set up. We also, in Justice League 40, meet Scott-Free in New Genesis, the New Genesis Apocalypse kind of trade that happened there. So we meet like a young child, Scott-Free. And then in the Divergence Free Comic Book Day issue, there was an 8-page preview, and you can get this digitally for free from a lot of different places. But if you look at the Justice League preview, that's another prologue for Darkseid War. And in that one, we are with the Amazonians on Themyscira, and Marina Black is having a baby right at the same time that Diana is being born. And that baby doesn't turn out as well as Diana, but it's named Grail, and this is Darkseid's illegitimate daughter, Amazonian daughter. And the other really cool thing about that Divergence prologue is that we get this page of glimpses, like these panels of things that are yet to come in the Darkseid War. So it's setting up this showdown between Darkseid and the Anti-Monitor, and it also looks like a showdown where Marina and Grail are going to be trying to take down Darkseid, which is Grail's father. So that brings us to Justice League 41. So Jason, I will let you dig into Justice League 41 here a little bit.
Well, I thought it was very well done. To me, I've read this a few other places elsewhere. It's kind of the event comic that DC should have done instead of Convergence. Like, it really has the potential to be something great. The artwork of Jason Fabok is kind of like a Jim Lee / David Finch clone, but it really works well for this kind of crossover. I mean, it's not really a crossover, but it's got all the major DC characters in it. Everybody gets a chance to kind of shine so far, even if it's just for a moment. I like the little subplots that tie into other books, like Cyborg's body growing back and things like that. Darkseid having a daughter is kind of interesting. We haven't really seen that before. And I was a huge Mr. Miracle fan when I was a kid, so I was really pumped to see him done really in a new art style and really have a chance to shine as well.
Yeah, Mr. Miracle looks pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. There's some interviews you can see online with Geoff Johns and Jason Fabok, and they're both really excited about Mr. Miracle, and he's going to play a big part in this event.
Nice.
I also think that Jason Fabok's take on Wonder Woman looks really good.
Yes.
And Geoff Johns has said that this is also really a Wonder Woman story.
Cool.
So I think, yeah, Jason Fabok to me seems like a really good artist choice for this. So, and I agree with you too, this has the feel like it's going to be this great event that's going to have characterizations, but also, you know, a lot of people involved and some really big throwdowns. It seems like they're really setting it up with a lot of good stuff, and I just feel like I felt like these were just like the perfect opening chapters of something that's going to be awesome. I just got that feeling from the pages.
Yeah, like compared to Convergence, it was like night and day. Like, I can't believe the difference in quality with it.
Yeah, it's interesting to analyze like what that might be. I mean, I think part of it is that Geoff Johns, you can tell that he has like this creative master plan from the beginning. Like in this one, he's gonna, I think, play with these dualities.
Yeah, for sure.
And it reminds me of like going back to Trinity War, an earlier event that he kind of did with Justice League.
Yeah.
Where he was really using these threes, the triads, and he had those like going all through it. I have a previous video where I talk about that theme. In this one, I think he's really going with dualities. So we've got God and anti-God.
Yeah.
We've got Wonder Woman and we've got Grail. And I think Mr. Miracle is going to kind of also be like a duality to a lot of the Apocalypse characters. So
no doubt.
This like assassin that was showing up in issue 41.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think just right out of the gate, you can tell that Geoff Johns has this plan, and so it makes me kind of trust him that he's setting these things up on purpose. And he does, I think, a really good job of, like you mentioned, giving a lot of characters something meaningful to do.
Yeah.
And I thought that was fun to actually see the Justice League team back together, where they're actually like a team working on different parts of what's going on.
Of course, yeah.
They definitely seem to have their hands full with Grail, though, when she comes in.
Yeah, no doubt, yeah.
the other thing that I thought was really great that struck me in this book was the settings. Like, so when Mr. Miracle really comes in, there's just this great feeling of the setting and the color palette and everything.
Yeah.
And then contrast that with like the opening scene where one of the Marina Blacks is getting killed.
Yes.
And just going through it, I'm like, wow, the setting really pulls me in as well, not just the characterizations and the action that's happening on top of it.
It feels cinematic, eh?
Yeah, very cool. I also wanted to ask you about that spread. It was like a couple pages where Wonder Woman was talking about the Justice League, and we kind of get this parallel scene where they're all kind of searching for something. What were your reactions to those moments?
Oh, I thought it was really well done. I mean, like I said before, the guy's artwork, obviously has riffs of other artists, but he can definitely handle the epic scale of it. I thought it really just conveyed the feeling of things to come, and this is what a good team book does, and also what a good kind of, even though it isn't a crossover, that's what it feels like to me, like an event that takes things from the whole DC universe.
Yeah, I think this might be pretty fun to have what Geoff Johns called it an event book, but one that's just happening in a monthly title.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it might be fun to actually follow this, where it's like, okay, we're going to get the full, complete story. It's going to be just coming in Justice League.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, so yeah, I agreed with you too that was really handled well with that parallelism of, Aquaman is searching for the truth of kind of who he is, where he belongs. Superman is wondering about Krypton. Batman is wondering where the person is who killed his parents, and like Hal Jordan is looking for adventure. I thought this was just these great beats where they're all kind of searching for something. And so like in just one page, Geoff Johns really gets to some of the heart of the characters, and just those moments, taking a page to do that, I think makes a big difference.
Totally. And that's the sign of a good book as well, because that's the way comics used to be. They didn't stretch things always over 6 issues. They could tell a huge chunk of a story in a double-page spread if it was done right.
Yeah. So, and Mr. Miracle, so I want to go back to him because I think he's going to be a big player. So
Oh, yeah.
I also thought it was great to see Mr. Miracle, have him kind of updated. I think he looks pretty good. I like the design of the character, at least so far.
Yeah.
He has a little showdown with Darkseid already in this issue, with Darkseid, his kind of stepfather, coming in.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought that was also handled really well, where Mr. Miracle is able to use escapism, kind of like to get out of that fight with Darkseid. It's like perfect, that's his sort of MO.
That's right, yeah, for sure.
So overall, pretty excited. Anything else you want to mention about the issue, or can we mainly just look forward to issue 42?
Well, do we really think Lex Luthor is getting killed there, or what's going on? Because that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that. So I thought it was good that Superman and Lex Luthor had a scene together.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of a pretty big thing that's left over from Convergence, is that Lex Luthor is on the team.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I do not know what to make of that. Lex Luthor's sister and all of that thing. And it ended really abruptly.
Totally.
Like they never went back to kind of check in on what had really happened.
I like that Lex Luthor's sister is portrayed to be like just as slippery of a, jerk as he is, because that just kind of makes sense, because they probably would step over each other to be able to get the better of one another, and I like that.
Yeah, it'll be curious to see like what actually happened there, where it goes next.
For sure.
And in terms of continuity, so I mentioned, that kind of picks up on the Justice League before Convergence.
Yeah.
And if some people are like continuity freaks and they're like wondering what's going on, how is this the Justice League when Convergence has already happened? If you want to get technical, I would say this probably is actually taking place right before Convergence, as kind of like the last adventure of the Justice League.
Yeah, I did read that somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best way to think about it is just to actually not worry about any of that stuff.
No, yeah.
And just say, like, okay, we've got Justice League characters. This is going to be a great epic showdown. We're going to have gods and anti-gods.
Yeah.
So just go for the ride is how I'm kind of taking it, and I'm not really worrying too much about why Batman is here, or why Superman is still in his suit and whatever. I'm just going with it. It looks like it's going to be awesome.
It's already better in one issue than Convergence was, I think, and I really kind of think they should have done this instead, because this has so far a lot of potential.
Yeah, and a lot of, I guess if somebody they do love the continuity and they do love looking for all the connections, this is a good book to be following, because it connects back to Forever Evil, it connects back to Trinity War, it connects back to Justice League Origin.
That's right.
And it even like links back to previous crises and things. So you can get into that stuff if you want to. I think this is also a good story if you just want to read a good comic book story.
Definitely, I would agree with you on all of those points.
All right, cool. Glad to have you on board. So fun talking with you about it.
Hey, anytime.